Hey, welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing, the World Cup edition. I'm RJ, the Balanced Blue, joined by my fellow co-host, legends, Rob the Red Devil, Scott the Gooner. We're not talking club football, we're talking World Cup football. It's the end of the first match week, if you will, of the group stage in this year's World Cup. Been some exciting action, boys, so let's dive right into it, shall we?
Yeah, before we do, I know we're talking World Cup, we're talking internationals. Got to ask you about something, Mr. RJ. You sneaky devil. Doesn't tell us that this is teed up, that he's doing this. He's gone. He's got the exclusive It's a Football Thing scoop. You met Frankie Lampard. Wow, what an experience for you, man. Just quickly tell us about it.
Oh, yeah, it took me by surprise. Frank was really looking forward to meeting me. He was messaging me saying, RJ, I'm coming to Sydney. We've got to meet up. I said, Frank, I can only see what I can do, mate. Nah, but in all seriousness, it's been really good. So for those that don't know, I run a bit of a Lampard Chelsea fan page, and I've been fortunate enough to link up with him as a result. Not that we converse too often, but the beauty of it is that we reached out after the Celtic game and essentially was able to line up this meet and greet with the family. And that's me with a photo on the pitch after the game when everybody had left. And it was just a nice little walk around the park and talking a little bit small talk and just bouncing some stuff off each other. But it was a really, really humbling experience, given he's my favourite player, of course.
Can I confirm, has he subscribed yet, RJ?
Look, I don't want to commit anything on air, but look, I don't know at this stage, mate. The point is the pipeline is there, and this might be the start of something huge. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You never know. But look, always a buzz, man. And when I saw them pictures, because again, RJ's a bit like a ninja. He likes to work in silence. He doesn't let too much go. I know when Robbie and I saw that, we were like, wow.
I was quite concerned, but just to tell the boys. Wow. That's right. I was more concerned that I pumped it up and got there. It's like, you're on catfish now. Good luck with that. And you're on your own. But once it happened, it's like all systems go. So happy to have it happen.
No, good on you, man. It's certainly a football thing. Right, let's get straight into the world. Did you want to ask him something, Robbie?
No.
All good. Let's get straight into this World Cup because we have had the first match round done. The group stage, everyone's played one game. The tables are looking... in some instances, just how we thought they might, and in others, maybe not so much. Let's get straight into it, boys. I'm going to share the table so far, and then we're going to acknowledge the champions in the chat just to quickly say hello. We got Justin, who's stuck at Melbourne Airport. Look, mate, we're happy to entertain you. We went live just for you. The concierge, I'm sure he'll like part of our conversation a bit later.
The goat.
Marty, from Marty Mariner Show. And Shano, yeah, I am in the mud, mate, after this morning. We'll talk about that later. Right, Group 1. Netherlands and Ecuador both got their wins. No big shocks for me in here. Qatar were very poor in their opening match. First World Cup host to lose an opening match in a very long time. And I thought Netherlands looked quite sharp against Senegal. Robbie, anything you wanted to say about this group, mate?
Yeah, completely agree with the Qatar. Thought just shocking in every way possible. Slightly disagree with the Netherlands. I actually think that Senegal were actually the better of the two. And I think if they had Mr. Mane in their team, I think they actually could have done Netherlands. So, look, it was a very close game and it got decided within the last 5 minutes of the game. But, look, I dare say both of them could possibly go through. Ecuador were decent, but a good challenge overnight incoming.
RJ? You think Senegal could still get through?
I think so, to be honest. It's almost a bit of a theme of African teams getting dudded by European ones, to be honest, overall. But it could be just one of those situations. But they were quite strong, so we'll see where they go from here.
Hopefully Mendy has his saving gloves on today.
That's it.
And like you said, Sadio Mane, a huge loss, an absolutely huge loss for Senegal. Can't replace players like that. But let's move on. Group B. England. Wow. What a performance by them. They brought the fire. They unshackled some of the attacking players. And they were very, very clinical. Now, to put that into perspective, they were playing Iran, who I thought were quite poor. They were certainly outclassed. My guy, Bukayo Saka, man of the match. Jude Bellingham had a cracker. I wasn't shocked by this from England. I think their bigger tests will come against Wales and the USA. RJ, what do you make of this group as it stands?
Well, I was actually a little bit disappointed for the US because I thought for large parts they were quite strong against Wales, but they did respond in the second half, so some credit must be given to them. But they'll be disappointed because a lot of people are sleeping on them at the moment. With the England one, I know what you're saying about you're not surprised at the result, but I think it's fair to say there's been a lot of critics about England's defensive style of play. So to put on 6 goals should still not be overlooked here. And I thought, while not necessarily getting on the scoreboard, players like Mason were quite strong in the left of that 3. And I thought Raheem Sterling had some really good moments as well. And the defense, they conceded 2 goals, really cheap ones at the end with that penalty. And that's going to be a theme for discussion. But overall, England just totally dominant.
Yep, definitely. Look, in that Wales-USA game, I felt it was a tale of 2 halves, to be honest. The US in the first half were absolutely dominant. Wales couldn't touch the ball. But then come the second half, Wales did rally. And I thought they were probably the better team in the second half. Robbie, I know you were quite critical of the Americans. You thought, did you say bottom of the group or second?
No, I did say bottom.
Has your view on that changed?
Definitely. A lot of respect. I really liked how they came out all guns blazing, and yeah, as you guys said, it really was a tale of 2 stories. Of 2 halves. Sorry, not 2 stories. And yeah, look, I have to say that it was a fair result, just given how the performance was on each half. But yeah, the Americans, if they were a little bit more clinical, I think the game would have been dead by halftime.
100%. Let's move on. Group C. Now, I'm going to get battered a bit later in the stream for an awful football take I had. But this was probably one of my better ones, and no one wants to talk about these ones. I did say that the Saudis would give this group an excellent run, and they did just that by stunning many people's tournament favourites, Argentina, one of the GOATs, one of the greatest of all time, Messi. It did get a little bit messy for Argentina going down to Saudi Arabia. I felt they got dragged into, as the game went on, a bit more of a dogfight. It wasn't necessarily about that technical, beautiful football. It became more about that fight and that the dark arts, all of those things that I love in football. But I want to start with you, RJ. You are the number 1 Messi fanboy on this channel. What did you think about that? Because that's not the start they would have wanted. And you only get 3 games in the World Cup to get out of the group. This is an awful start for them.
Awful indeed. And I like Concierge's commentary, so we know he's very impartial when it comes to Messi criticisms, so that's very good. But overall, man, look, you got to say, it was totally lopsided based on the statistics, which are dangerous. Obviously, 15 shots, 6 on target versus 3 shots, and Saudi Arabia scored 2 of them, 2 rockets, 2 fantastic finishes. But that collective discipline they showed, Argentina could have been up 4-0 in the first half an hour. But very questionable VAR decision on at least one of those offsides. And I know the penalty was also quite soft, but there was also some very soft penalties across the board. But I just thought they were too complacent. At 1-0, I just thought they had that mentality. It's just about how many are we going to score here? And I put that tweet out at halftime. 1 goal leads are perilous in this competition. And Saudis, to their credit, scored that first one and then completely shell-shocked Argentina. But overall, it's just a combination of everything that could go wrong did go wrong for Argentina. And I'm secretly happy in the sense that they didn't overtake Italy's undefeated streak. So that's the one positive I'm taking from this clash. So you got to look up. You got to look positive.
We're still winning even though we're not in the World Cup, isn't it, RJ?
That's it. Got to be happy.
Robbie, in this group, and I know you'll probably chat a little bit about Poland and Mexico too, because out of this group, dare say you probably watch the most football. You're a little Energizer bunny, an absolute machine. But after watching the games in this group, what do you make about it now going forward? Like, do you think there is a chance that the Saudis could get through?
I think there's a very good chance that the Saudis get through. They put themselves in the best position. They've won their hardest game on paper of the group. And I'm sure they're going to have so much confidence going up against either Poland or Mexico, who, from what I've seen the other night, I think they can get a result against both those teams. And that's the thing. That's what I've really loved about match day 1 in general, that you go back a week ago when we were doing our preview, nearly everyone would have had the same bracket of nearly the one or top two teams or in that order. This match day one has really thrown a spanner in the works all over the place. And, there could be favourites that could possibly drop out after round two. There could be, smokies that are coming up and that we didn't have a think that we're going to get through. So that's the best thing about match day one overall. But yeah, look, I do think Saudi Arabia at this point, if they continue to play the way they did against Argentina, I really think they've got a good, strong chance.
Now, we're going to do some predictions as we go. We're not doing predictions for every match. But in that group, I want to hear your quick-fire predictions on Argentina and Mexico, because that's the next fixture for them. Who wins that one?
2-1 Argentina, desperation.
They bounce back. Okay.
Yeah. They need to. Otherwise, it's not going to be enough.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're going to see a reaction now. They didn't yet. The story is Saudi Arabia racked up a historic win, and it was all fairy tale like, and it was fantastic, etc. The reality is, we saw moments in which Argentina completely tore them apart, and on another day, and had straight lines being used, etc. Who knows what could have happened? But I do expect them to beat Mexico. I don't know.
I have to agree with RJ there. Especially
I thought Martinez was offside.
Yeah, I thought he was definitely onside for me. I think that's just a ridiculous call. I don't understand how that's offside. It's not black and white. That's onside for me. But yeah, look, we'll go with that. And like I said, it could have been 4-0 at halftime, and that's why we've got to give credit.
And their timing was off, Rob, too. I dare say, like, if Messi's a little bit quicker to release things, or if even the pass to get him, because he scored that nice finish as well, half a second difference, and it's a totally different narrative. So I expect them to beat Mexico.
Just a quick credit to Saudi Arabia as well. They didn't change their approach the whole way. They were playing a really high line, as we've seen in that first half, and that's why so many times there was spacing behind, and they just got caught offside. So, look, they didn't back off at all. And obviously, what we see in the second half, they really went for it. So, yeah, no, I wouldn't call it a smash and grab there. I think they really worked their way back into it the second half, and they deserve the win.
Spot on. Look, my quick fire prediction for that match, I'm going with Argentina to beat Mexico 3-1. I actually think Mexico finished bottom of this group now. Boys, we'll also have them Poland, Saudi Arabia very quickly. You think the Saudis go back-to-back wins?
I think they can get a draw from this. I'll go 1-1.
I'm with you, mate. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Make it 3.
Wow, the hat trick. The hat trick, load up on it. Okay, the Socceroos group. Now, we did do an in-depth reaction on the Socceroos match. It's on the page if you haven't seen that. We won't go in-depth on that again because we've already done it. We've acknowledged how great France were. We've acknowledged that we've got work to do. Tunisia and Denmark, well, both teams of good quality. I don't think that we should be writing off either of them. I've seen a lot of people implying that the 3 points against Tunisia is all but given. I think that confidence is misplaced. We are, and I saw a tweet, I can't remember who it was saying this today. It might have been Shano. We are one of the worst teams at the Cup in terms of quality on the pitch. However, we do have heart, and we know with football that sometimes underdogs, it's not all about the quality on the pitch. If it was, Argentina would have won their match 5-6-0. So we know that it's not all about quality, but quality-wise, we are behind a lot of other countries. And we got work to do. Do you think, coming up to the match against Tunisia on Saturday, do you think we can get a result, Rob?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah, mate. Look, there's no point sugarcoating it. Let's be real.
If I'm going to be honest with you, I think we don't get a result at all in this game. Like I said, I've only missed 2 games live. One of them was actually the Tunisia-Denmark one. I went back and watched it later on. I was literally shocked at the quality from both teams, but especially Tunisia. I felt like watching 11 Bulldogs on the pitch. These guys were strong. They were fast. They were pressing like Energizer bunnies. I was really quite taken aback, wow, because I was pretty confident after seeing that 25-minute cameo from Australia against France. I'm like, if we put this into the Tunisia game, I really think we can put this in our own hands. But after watching that game a little bit more in depth, I'm like, wow, this is definitely not going to be a hard beat. And, I think this is going to go down to whoever scores the first goal wins for me. So if Tunisia do score, I think they can put 2 or 3 on us. But if Australia do get, kind of stand straight up to them, and if they can play around the park a little bit more, bit of pace and creativity because they've got a really aging defense. I think that's where we can, have a bit of strength and go for a result. But if I'm going to be honest, as what I've seen from both games, I think Tunisia is going to win this game.
RJ, not a lot of confidence. And here, look, I'm of the opinion of Robbie. I don't think we can beat Tunisia. I think we can maybe get a draw. I wouldn't be shocked if a nil or a 1-1. I know it's not good enough. No, I know it's not good enough. But look, for us, we've got to try and find some kind of positives. The overall age of our team isn't too bad. So if we can kind of come out of this World Cup not too humiliated, we've got players who have valuable experience that then maybe under a better manager, we can potentially look to build something for the future. But yeah, look, I think a draw is probably the best we'll get in either of our next two matches. But do you have any hope, RJ? You're normally the optimistic one.
Yeah, I am optimistic. And there were elements of the France game that we should be optimistic and pleased about. And I know Tunisia played well as well based on the watch back later. But where it's one thing to be pessimistic because we got touched up at the end against France, but they are France. And yes, Tunisia is not a terrible team, but we're also not a terrible team. We're one of the worst teams relative to others around us, but we're also not putting Tunisia in that top bucket either. So I'm cautious of overplaying just how good they are, but I'm also equally cautious of saying, oh, there's 3 points, no problem. We'll just focus on Denmark next. It's going to be right down to the wire, as they say. I think depending on how we go into the sheds at halftime, we could sneak a win. I know it's been optimistic, but I think that they're not world beaters and we shouldn't overly put ourselves down. So I'm locking myself in, hopefully, for a 2-1 to Socceroos.
100%. I'm pumped to watch it. It's 9 o'clock prime time. I'm so keen to watch it. I don't know, like I said, a lot of people had so much hope about the France game. I think if we were all real, we all knew what the result was.
I wasn't that hopeful, to be fair. Yeah.
I said a lot of people, not us. But this one here, like I said, now that I've watched that Tunisia game, if they come out the same as what I've seen, I think it's going to be a very hard game.
Yeah, look, speaking of very hard games, let's move on. Let's move to another group because we have already dedicated a large amount of time to the Socceroos group. And we all know France are top in that group, just quietly. The next group, Spain. Unbelievable. My criticism on Marty's season preview was I didn't think Spain had goals in them. Well, I'll tell you what, they found some goals. It was reverse psychology. I'm actually part Spanish.
Even Morata scored, mate.
Even
nice
Morata
finish.
scored.
It was
a very nice finish. And then we had Germany with a very good result as well against Japan. Japan with a great result against Germany. Nice to see some of the Asian footballing teams doing a great job. I wish we could maybe get a result like that against Germany. But this group's shaping up quite nicely, very nicely indeed. RJ, what are your thoughts on this group?
Fascinating. I think we all respected Japan, but not to the extent that they were going to actually win against Germany. I thought they could get a result, no doubt. But after being 1-0 down, I thought this is going to be a really difficult one to overturn. But this continues the whole theme around Germany, which you scratch your head thinking, how can a team of such star-studded quality not get it right? And it's not just a one-off result. This has been a persistent problem for them for some time now. And I can't quite understand what their vulnerabilities are, but got to give you credit to Japan. They weren't rated enough. And that's why people like Ange Postecoglou have said, we are treating Japan with not enough respect in terms of the footballing development that they have. So credit to them. And Spain, one thing I will take a bit of a W here for is I called them out to be a real team to watch. I have a lot of confidence in them. And so far, it's been validated. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
You hang out with Frank Lampard once and your tactical knowledge and genius just go through the roof.
That's right.
Robbie, speak to me about the group so far. What impressed you most? And can Germany still get out?
If I'm going to quick fire this, no. Germany is not getting out of this group. They're going home in the next game. Spain is going to do them next round. They'll be 0-0. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 2 losses. Sorry, I got mixed up there. Yeah, look, I really do think Spain is going to do them in the next game, and then see you later for Germany. Another early exit as it was in the last World Cup. Spain were very good, but I'm going to kind of treat this game how everyone's treating the England game. Yes, they smacked them 7-0, but this Costa Rica, I told everyone as well, is a really bad Costa Rica. Like I said, this is their team from the 2014 World Cup. So these guys are all at the end of their career. No new players. There's no talent in that. And Spain, like I said, is literally the opposite. These guys have got like 18, 19, 20-year-olds that are going to have a ceiling who knows how high. So look, at the end of the day, they scored 7 goals, and I don't even think Costa Rica had a shot on target. So, look, the result speaks for itself, but I want to see when Spain – look, they're playing Germany next game, and I think they will take them to – but I think we're going to see a little bit more quality because Germany wasn't bad in that Japan game.
No.
They were just not clinical,
Japan
man.
was just better.
In the second half.
Yes and no. Second half, yeah, because Germany, geez, they missed so many sitters it wasn't funny. Again, it could have been done by half-time, but look, again – it's not over to the fat lady sings, and Japan came over and scored 2 good goals, the equaliser and the winner. So, look, I do think it's Germany there is going to drop out, and one of the big boys gone already, possibly.
Give me your Spain-Germany prediction, Rob.
2-0 Spain.
RJ?
2-1 Spain.
I'm 3-1 Spain. I've come full circle. You've convinced me, RJ. Looking at the next group, Belgium sitting pretty at the top with a gritty win over Canada, who I thought played some good football.
They did.
And I thought Canada could hold their heads up quite high, and they're not done yet. And then we saw Croatia-Morocco. Was not the world's greatest game of football, to be honest. We all had high expectations that Croatia would dominate. And again, they just couldn't convert. I feel like they could have played 3 more consecutive batches of 90 minutes and they still wouldn't have scored. I don't see where the goals come from in this team. And that's a real concern for Croatia going forward. RJ, what do you make of the group so far?
Yeah, Belgium quite fortuitous, weren't they? Big save from the spot from our old mate Thibaut. What a save. Unlucky for Davies. It's not a nice thing to have. He could have scored their first ever World Cup goal. And unfortunately for them, the drought continues. But they had some really big moments as well. And got to give credit. Nice finish from the Batman as well. Nice to see Eden Hazard as well getting back out there and having a run. But they'll take that win and know, geez, that was a close one. We need to be better next match because if we do that again, they won't get the same result, I dare say.
All right, boys. Do you still think Croatia get through? Are you still really confident Croatia to go through, Rob?
No, I'm not confident. I think this is the group of life, this group. I think anyone can go through. Even Belgium didn't really impress me either, to be honest. I thought Canada were really, really good, and I think they deserve something from the game. Yeah, look, I think anyone, even Morocco the other night against Croatia, really surprised me. Like I said, it was a 0 or draw, but like I said, I was expecting Croatia and Belgium to be a lot more comfortable than it was for them. So the group of life, and I think there could be a smoky that might drop in this one. Don't know who, but both those teams can get results.
All right, let's go to the next group. My award for biggest L of the World Cup so far, I'm going to give to myself. For those who haven't seen, this was tweeted at halftime. An L for many reasons. I spelt Richardson in the second sentence. B, Richarlison, who didn't touch the ball in the first half, was nowhere, was anonymous, then comes and scores 2 goals. Now, I ain't giving him credit for the first. I would have scored that. It was the ball basically bounced off him. But my
it was instinctive finish, Scott. Come on, mate.
Nah, mate. It just basically rebounded.
6-yard poacher, mate.
That second goal, though, wow. For me, and I know we'll talk about our favourite goal so far, even though it put egg on my face, that for me was the best goal of the tournament so far. It was brilliant. It was a Brazil goal. It's what you expect. So I'm going to take my L. I copped a bit of crap from Spurs fans this morning. But boys, were you thoroughly impressed with the Brazilians?
Yeah, I definitely was. I thought the opposition was quality opposition. Again, I think Serbia's got a very good young side with a lot of quality in that team. I'll be interested to see what they do for the next 2 match days. But Brazil, look, I'm taking my Italia hat off here and my rival hat, but they look good. I called them from the start. They're my favourites to win it all. I hope they don't again. But they've just got so much quality in that squad everywhere. They made 5 subs, and I felt like their bench was nearly stronger than their starting lineup.
100%.
Like, their attack is just joke. And look, again, as a biased United fan, Casemiro was, mate, he was a Rolls Royce as a CDM this morning. 16 interceptions, hit the
How about that
crossbar.
shot? Wow.
The shot, even not just the crossbar shot. He was having like there was one earlier in the half when the keeper had to save it, but just everyone in that team, man. Like the way they even before the game started, I've seen them come off the coach. They're like playing the drums and their music. They're just really vibing at the moment. Sometimes when you have that team spirit, as we've seen Italy in the Euros last year, that's what takes you all the way in the World Cup, mate. So they just look flying at the moment.
RJ, Brazil going to finish top of this group? Because I thought Switzerland were okay. I thought Switzerland looked quite sound. Again, what you expect from them, nothing too flashy. Do you think Switzerland can give them a bit of a challenge, or is it Brazil easy runaway?
Unless Brazil gets more injuries, and we saw Neymar's ankle not in great condition. But I think, perhaps controversially, I think the more important player that they need to keep free is Vinny Jr. That guy there is unbelievable. He was like what Mbappe did to us and what Dembele did. He's the kind of player who's in that purple patch. And yes, Neymar's the superstar and he's earned his status. But people like Vinny Jr., they just bring so much quality. And you saw how dangerous they were. They were struggling to contain him. And even players like the leadership at the back, like you had Casemiro driving the engine, Thiago Silva with that beautiful, beautiful pass, very unlucky. They're just a well-rounded team.
Alexandro, the wing-backs. The only player I thought that wasn't good was Rafinha. So he just looked out of place today. And
if you don't want to start him, gosh, who can you bring
Anthony
on off the
came
bench?
on.
Martinelli,
man. Honestly, his cameo as well. Every time he got the ball, man, I'm just like, wow. I really thought they were going to score another 1 or 2 goals.
Even Bruno in the midfield there, they just got too many options.
I don't think Bruno Guimaraes didn't play.
Yeah,
it's
honestly,
crazy.
They just look good.
Let's look then at the last group. Portugal, top of the group. South Korea and Uruguay split the points. A little bit unlucky for Ghana. I thought they weren't too shabby, but Cristiano Ronaldo, my GOAT, the free agent. I hope you're listening, MacArthur Bulls.
Love it.
He's a free agent, man, and he's the first player to score in 5 consecutive World Cups.
First male to score in 5 World Cups. Yeah. We can be specific. That works too. The first male to score in 5 World Cups, and it was a good performance by Portugal. I thought they looked quite good as a team. They seemed to play more team ball for me. It didn't feel like it was just all about Ronaldo in that match, but I didn't watch the full thing. I only saw the extended highlights, so I might be wrong. I know Robbie would have watched the full thing. Am I right in that analysis, Rob, or am I in the mud again?
I'm not going to throw you under the bus, mate.
Nah, do it, mate. Do it.
I thought Ghana was good as well. The whole game, like I said, they did park the bus a little bit, but they tried to hit him on the break, and they did have quite a few chances. Yeah, but you got to do that when you're going up against a team like Portugal sometimes. And at the end of the day, it finished 3-2. Portugal still conceded 2 goals for me. Both of them were Cancelo's fault. So, we don't see him make a lot of mistakes, but both came from his side of the field. Again, we've seen it across the board, soft penalties, man. Like I did, Ronaldo's for me was a penalty, soft again, which has been there's been penalties. I feel like this World Cup is full of penalties. Everything is.
I feel like we say this every World Cup, though, Robbie.
It is. It's true. There's just pick up on everything. Like if this was in the Premier League, mate, we'd be having 5 penalties a week, per game, kind of thing. But look, again, they did click into gear. Portugal. They do have a lot of quality as well. Again, for Bruno really turned up, especially in that second half. 2 beautiful assists. And when you have people like Lau coming off the bench, mate, 3 minutes, he's Felix played pretty good. Obviously, he scored the second goal to put him back 2-1 after that equalizer. And then 2 minutes later, Rafael Lau. Again, I really rate this kid. Made it 3-1. But then they kind of went to sleep a little bit again. Ghana came back, got a second goal to make it a bit interesting. And right at the death, they nearly made a crazy mistake, mate. The keeper played it, and one of the Ghana players came from behind and stole the ball off him. If he turned around and put that in the net, it was all play on. So that would have been a bit of egg on the Portuguese face. But look, I think everyone's expected them to top the group. quickly in that group. I expected better from Uruguay, to be honest, and they had a bit of a ball draw as well. So that that wins really put them in a good position at the moment.
RJ, thoughts on the group?
Yeah, it's open. I thought Portugal probably edged it to the result wise, but a slip. It's a game of fine margins. It's a slip. In my opinion, it's a dive from Ronaldo. It's a penalty because he touched him. It's a dive. I actually thought the goal disallowed should have stood, and I thought that shouldn't have been given a penalty. So it's cancelling each other out to an extent.
Yeah.
But they got the point in the end. I thought their attack looked pretty good at times, but defensively a bit shaky, as we said.
Agreed.
But Uruguay, very disappointing. I don't know where I stand with them. I don't think I predicted them to go through. I might have just in second, but not convinced at this stage. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them.
Boys, a few quick fires because we do want to wrap this up shortly. I want to throw a couple of fixtures at you just to get your thoughts because there are some juicy fixtures coming up. Brazil, Switzerland is one of them for me. What's your quick fire prediction in this match?
I'm going to go 2-0 to Brazil again.
RJ?
I was going to say 3-0, but I think 2-0 sounds better.
Okay, I'm going to go with 2-1 to Brazil in that. Also, I think Cameroon and Serbia should be a very good match as well. What's going to happen in this one, Robbie?
3-1 Serbs.
There you go. Wow, you think they'll bang in 3 goals? Okay. What about you, RJ?
2-1 for me to Serbia.
Yeah, I'm going to go with 2-1 to the Serbs as well. Another one, Portugal and Uruguay coming up.
Yeah, look, I'm going to go for Portugal because they underwhelmed me this morning, Uruguay. So I'm going to go 2-1 to Portugal.
I think it'll be tight. I'm going 1-0 to Portugal.
Yeah, one goal, yep.
No, I can see Uruguay getting on the score sheet this time. I think it'll be 1-1.
All right, boys. Quick fires, not necessarily quick fires, but your favourite goal so far. I've given mine away. Was Richarlison. But what about you, Robbie? What was your favourite goal so far?
You go first because I don't want to take anyone's, and I've been watching the most.
That volley from Gavi from Spain. My God, what a shot! First time, cut back in, bottom post. I thought top quality.
Was very, very nice. Well, I've got 2 more I'm going to throw out there if I'm allowed or not. I'm going to go Saka. Saka's first goal in the England game, the one that kissed underneath the crossbar. I thought that was a great goal. And I'm going to go Salim Al-Dahawi, I think his name is, the one that scored the second goal against Argentina. I mean,
you thought that was better than Messi's penalty? Nah, just kidding.
Yeah. Well, honestly, that was a great man.
The
way he took it, turned around, finesse.
Shouldn't have got that penalty to begin with. And that brings me on to my next topic. The refereeing so far, just give us your general views on that. I know for me, what they're doing with the extra time, it's doing my head in. I understand, but I think there's a fine line. Like, I don't think we see enough in the Premier League, unless it's a Manchester United game and they're losing, then they always get extra. But I don't think generally we see enough. But I think this is too much. Like, they're giving, I think it was 7 minutes in the Brazil game this morning.
It's like the average is like 7 minutes, man. Like I know,
I don't get it.
I know there was an injury just going back to the England game, but they had 24 minutes between the halves action. That's like extra time. It's crazy. Like I know there was a bit of an injury, but
it's half of a half.
That's crazy. Like, I've got the statement here. We're going to take back time for substitutions, penalties, celebrations, and VAR. To all the teams that waste time, goodbye. And that's from like
It's Kalina, wasn't it?
Kalina, yeah. And look, I don't think you should take the time from goal celebrations. Look, VAR, fair enough. If they're going to take sometimes 2-3 minutes for a VAR call, fine. But goal celebrations or like literally every time the ball goes out for a throw-in, like they're adding on seconds for that. Like, I just think that's a bit much.
Yeah, I hate it. What about you, RJ?
Just comes back to the age-old argument. Just stop when there's stoppages. Like, stop having gambles and having extra time because they can then waste time on that added time 100%. And it just drags on. So it's been a bit of a farce, to be honest.
I've seen a lot of people saying that they actually like this, man, saying that, like, you know, when it's 90th minute and you see that there's 10 minutes extra time or stoppage time, whatever you want to call it, like, you know, it's all to play for kind of thing. But I'm like, there's 90 minutes for that from the start anyway. So if you're going to go for it, just go for it when you should. You know what I mean?
Good shout from Shano here with the goals as well. Good one.
That was a good goal.
That was a class finish.
Good finish.
It was unfavourable.
It's a shame we didn't get the result of his name. That would have been nice. But
yeah, I know,
it
good
didn't
win.
happen.
That would have been lovely. A player that's really impressed you to begin with.
You go first, Arj.
I'll go first with this one. For me, it's Bukayo Saka. Now I get to watch him week in, week out, so I know what he can offer. But I still feel he doesn't get a lot of respect. Like whenever you're talking about the most talented kind of youngsters in the world, they always tend to gravitate to your Spanish players, or there are other English players who come up before him. But I think you need to put some respect on his name. It was a masterclass from him, a very good performance. So he's my guy.
Arj, you can go next again.
Saka's a poor man's Vinny Jr., my friend. He's been unreal, top player, and he could get player of the tournament for me. I'm wrapped on him at the moment.
Yeah. Well, look, you know me, my play. He wasn't amazing, but it was still good. I think for his age, Jude Bellingham had a really good game.
Yeah.
But also his partner, Declan Rice. I thought those two. I'm really liking England at the moment. I'm gonna jump on a bit of the English bandwagon because obviously Italy's not there, and I've never really.
It's coming home.
You're going to lose all your followers now,
I
Robbie.
know,
You can't
I
say
know,
things
mate.
like Declan Rice is good, mate. That's bad. You're finished.
What? What do you mean? I thought he's been great, man. But I really am getting into a bit of the England hype train, man. I really think, I said it before in my predictions, I said if they can click, I really think they can go really deep in this competition. They can go head to head with the big boys.
Spot on, boys. And there's a good comment here. Everyone doubted England, but they've come out firing. Yeah, look, I don't think people doubted that they had the quality.
Everyone doubted Southgate, and if he was going to let him play, that's the thing.
100%.
The biggest question is, sorry to cut you off.
No.
When they come up against a little bit more quality opposition, I'm even going to include America and Wales in this.
They go into the shell.
Do they keep the four at the back, number one, which everyone loved the four at the back, and much better was it for the team? And when they do come up, maybe in the knockout stages against maybe a France or someone like that, are they going to go back to a 5, or are they going to go and say their system and go, toe to toe with someone?
You can understand, though, the reservation, because against better teams, the minute you make a mistake, like Spain did that countless times against Costa Rica, even Portugal did it against, Ghana before. So, yeah, it's all about your risk appetite, as we like to say in my trade.
I agree. I just think the English public, they would be happy to go out playing a 4 and attacking, toe-to-toe football instead of we've got, like, look how good we played in the group stage. We come up against it, and then we go back in our shell, 5 at the back. It's negative, and we go out like that, if you know what I mean.
A question in the chat for me, how far will France go? They'll go all the way. That's where they're going. I think they'll be finalists. And depending on who they're up against and if they sustain many more injuries, then I'll give you a prediction there. But I certainly think they'll be finalists. They look so chill against us. Boys, we've talked about players that stood out. We've talked about goals that stood out. We've unpacked the groups and done some quick fires along the way. Is there anything else you wanted to add in about match week 1, before we end the stream?
Raj, anything?
Not for me, boys. Fascinating week. I'm just glad that the off-field controversy is slowly subsiding, but we are still getting a lot of this stuff, and it's a little bit uneasy on the eye.
Yeah, look, absolutely.
I'm
over it, man.
Sorry,
go
Scotty.
No, go
I
on,
just think the football is doing the talking, and that's what I want. Because again, if we're looking into some of the people that we know that have gone over and posting stuff, it doesn't look amazing. It doesn't look like they're being super prepared. That shows why I'm happy that the football is shining at the moment.
100%. And you know what? As soon as that whistle blows and the game kicks off, I don't think the politics is crossing my mind at all. And quite simply, find me a country in the world that's completely squeaky clean throughout its whole history, and you've done quite well. So I just want to watch football, and it seems to me like a lot of people who are there seem to be having a good time. So that's what you want. I know I've got family friends who are there, and we've got some mutual followers and friends who are there. So I just hope the football keeps doing the talking, because it's been great. So until then, we will let the football continue doing the talking. The Socceroos play tomorrow evening at 9 p.m. against Tunisia. We will react to that. We will put out a match reaction video. We'll have to get back to you with the exact time of that, so keep an eye on our socials. But there will be a match reaction after that game, and then we'll see you again at the end of match week 2. Until then, take care, enjoy your football, and make sure you stay out of trouble. Look after yourselves.